So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to an extended edition of DMU Talks, our subject support session. So, I just want to say a very, very big welcome from all of us here at De Montfort University. Even though my bedroom isn't De Montfort University, we are still representing DMU on this subject support session. So, just to give you a bit of insight and overview of what's going to be happening over today and also the course of the rest of the week, we are running these subject support sessions designed for students who are currently in the process of deciding on what course they want to do. So if we sort of put out there what your current situation is, it is quite tricky because there's hundreds of different universities you can go to. There's tens and thousands of different courses on offer that all seem very, very similar. So what we're trying to do over the course of the next 5 days or so is trying to break down all the different courses that sit under the different faculties. Now, faculties, for you guys that don't really understand university terminology, I know sometimes for me, sometimes goes over my head. It's just different clusters of groups. So today what we're going to be focusing on is our ADH faculty, which is Art, Design and Humanities. As you'll see, my name is Dal, which is located on this side of the screen. So I'm going to be both your Ant and Dec for the next hour or so. So I'll be hosting for you. And I'm joined by Laura and also some fantastic students that are currently studying at our ADH faculty. So what I'm going to do now is very quickly pass over to Laura so she can introduce herself. So good afternoon, Laura.
Hi, Dal. My name's Laura and I work in the marketing and recruitment team for the Faculty of Arts, Design and Humanities.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Laura. So what I want to be seeing from you guys that are watching this live stream is for you guys to be getting involved in the comment section. So these sessions are designed for you guys. This session is designed for you guys to ask the questions that you might have and try and work out the differences between the different courses that were on offer. So if you are watching, please do give us a shout out in the comment section and I'll be able to talk to you and we'll be able to answer your questions at the end of the live stream. If you're watching on our website, you'll also see a link that will take you through to YouTube. So if you do want to get involved and comment, please do click on the link, and please do drop us a message on YouTube. So now I'm going to cross over to Eden. So good afternoon, Eden. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. I'm Eden and I'm a third year photography and video student.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Eden. And we also have Megan.
Hi, I am Megan. I'm a second year Arts and Festival Management student.
Excellent. And we also have Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte and I'm studying history at De Montfort in my third year and I'm hoping to do a master's as well.
Excellent. And last but not least, we also have Lucille. Good afternoon, Lucille.
Hi, my name is Lucille and I'm studying contour fashion in second year and I'm really enjoying my course and happy to see you guys.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, guys. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. So what I'm going to do now, without further ado, is get straight into it because this is what the students are really interested in. And one of the first points that I really want to start on is why did you choose your course? So who wants to start me off in answering that question? Megan, go for it.
Yeah, okay. So I did acting at college. So I didn't do A levels, I did a BTEC. So that was sort of my passion. My interest has always been in the arts, especially things like theatre. But I wasn't 100% sure that was where I wanted to go. So rather than being on the stage, I've done arts and festival management, which is basically how you get behind the scenes, how you run it, how you manage it, how you market it. So I took my passion for something else and I turned it into this degree that I chose, obviously.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. So we also have Laura. So Laura, one question that I really want to ask is that, so I know that Megan did arts and festivals management, but what other courses sit with under that cluster, is it?
Yeah, so we have the performance arts cluster at DMU. So as Megan mentioned, she chose arts and festivals management rather than a more practical course. But obviously you can also study a practical course. So we have drama BA, performing arts BA, dance, and also some joint honours options. So maybe you're in a different position to Megan and you do still want to do some of that practical work. You can combine like dance and arts and festivals management. So if you're unsure about which kind of course course suits you. We have all of our course pages and videos and things like that. So if you go to dmu.ac.uk/performance arts, you can kind of see all the different course options available that fall under that sector. But I think whatever course you're interested in, there's kind of something for you. So performing arts combines more like singing and dancing and acting, kind of a more all-round approach, whereas drama is more strictly acting, and you'll kind of look into some of the texts in more detail and things like that. Obviously dance sort of speaks for itself, and arts and festivals management is a really kind of dynamic course that like Megan said, kind of gets you involved in marketing, kind of hosting an event, which is really exciting, and students have the opportunity to work in on real events like cultural exchanges, which students run every year, as well as they get involved with like Leicester Comedy Festival and things like that. So I think there's a lot of different options for students interested in performance arts, and we have a lot of kind of state-of-the-art facilities. So yeah, if you take a look at the webpage I mentioned previously, which we'll put in the comments, then you can also see like a video that shows you some of the facilities and different things like that.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Laura. So Megan's from Arts and Festivals Management, and Laura has very kindly let us know around all the other courses that sit within that performance cluster. So Charlotte, I'm going to ask the same question to you. So why did you choose your course?
Mine was a bit of a long-winded one, really. I started off doing my A-levels, biology, chemistry, maths and history, thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor. It didn't last very long. And I thought, right, history is my only A-level that's keeping me sane. I love it, but I didn't know what I could do with it. So I thought, no, I'm going to do law. Looked at law, loved the course and everything, but I just knew it wasn't for me. And then loads of talks with my family and friends and all this, and they said, for goodness sake, just do what you want to do. And I just fell in love with De Montfort University, loved the course, loved the modules and everything. And I just thought, it's just for me. So that was it really. But it's a big difference from, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, and now, yeah, history. And I just love it.
I think that's a very key bit of advice that you mentioned there in terms of doing something that you enjoy. So it's a question that I always get asked a lot sometimes when I'm speaking to students. Students are like, oh, Dal, so how do I choose between my different courses? And I always start with that stance. So, you know, your degree is going to be very challenging over the next 3 years. You're going to come up some ups, you're going to go through some downs, and sometimes when the going does get a little bit tough, sometimes it is that natural passion, that natural interest for that course area that is going to get you through. So yes, absolutely solid advice there from Charlotte. So Laura, what else sits under the humanities cluster at De Montfort University?
Yeah, so we have a huge range of humanities courses at DMU. Too many for me to list, so I'm not going to try. But if you go to, again, DMU/humanities, which will also pop in the chat, then you can see there's a huge range, but it kind of all centers around history, English language, English literature, and creative writing. And amongst those kind of 4 key disciplines, you can then again do like joint honours, as well as more of an and, so English language and TESOL or and Spanish, which isn't as kind of strict as a joint honours. It's not 50-50. It's more, you'll primarily do English language, for example, but you'll have a few credits related to learning a foreign language like Spanish. So there's tons of different options to kind of combine those courses to suit your interests. History can also be combined with politics and international relations, different things like that. So again, if you come along to one of our open days, we've got them in November, December, January, all available on the website to book onto. We have live streams relating to these different courses, and the academics are amazing. They give a much better summary of the courses than I can, so I really recommend you book onto those, and then through that you can learn a lot more detailed info about each subject. But yeah, humanities is a really varied department, and it's really forward thinking, trying to have really diverse module content, and it's always kind of leading the way, I think, for being really innovative.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Laura. So I'm going to go over now to Eden. So Eden, same question to you. So why did you choose the course that you chose to do?
Well, I chose photography and video primarily because coming out of an art foundation, I was still kind of torn on whether I wanted to go down the film route or the more fine art photography route. And Montfort's the only one course in the UK that does both photography and video equally. So they teach it on a 50-50 basis, and you get your skills increased to the equal level instead of a heavier focus on one or the other, which is like it's seen in other courses. The opportunities with DMU Global was another major thing that brought me to DMU, and I actually have been lucky enough to go on to the New York trip with them in first year. So yeah, it was the course itself and the opportunities that DMU can provide.
Excellent, thank you so much for that, Eden. Laura, so Eden mentioned there that under, what would you call that cluster? So I don't want to.
Yeah, so we class it as visual arts. So maybe sometimes people don't always realise that's kind of how we umbrella those courses. It's a bit of a smaller cluster than maybe humanities, like I was just talking about. So yeah, there's photography and video, BA honours, which is kind of one course that combines both of those disciplines, which is quite unique, really. I think a lot of places you'll find photography or video. So having the chance to study both, I think, is something I hear a lot of students really like. And then the other main course in that cluster is fine art, BA on. So similar kind of disciplines, and both courses get access to all the amazing facilities in the Vijay Patel building. I know people in, fine art or even photography might choose to use a metal workshop or 3D printing, and then kind of use all these facilities to help improve their art. We also have the Art and Design Foundation course, which is kind of before university level. It's more of college A-level equivalent. And again, a lot of people sometimes choose to do that to help figure out which creative course they want to do. So I think if you are in a position where you're not quite sure which path you want to go down, something like the Art and Design Foundation at DMU lets you try all the workshops, kind of dip your toes into fashion, design, kind of all these different areas, and then you can kind of help make the decision, your own decision then about your undergraduate course as well.
Excellent, thank you. Eden, if you don't mind, so I'm just going to ask you a question about the foundation that you chose to do. Mm-hmm. So would you say that's very useful? So if there's any students out there that are currently considering a foundation, what would you say was the biggest benefit for you personally of studying that foundation?
Yeah, it was 100% useful. I mean, at school I did art and photography, and again, it was that kind of divide. But they say that the transition from A-levels to uni is a lot easier if you've done the art foundation course, and I definitely found that was the case, because it breaks it down. So you have the first half of the year is usually you're trying a different range of stuff, from like model making to photography to fine art to set design. You try the whole lot, so you're really seeing kind of whether you're a practical worker or more of a designer, kind of passionate about that kind of thing. And then the second half is usually you choose your specialism a bit more, but it just gives you that time to really like mess around with what you either already know you want to do and make sure that is the case, or it gives you a chance to see what else is out there. And if you're under 19, it's free, and it's just, why not? I mean, for me, it was one of the best years of my life. So yeah, 100% recommend it, no matter where you go.
Excellent, thank you so much. Laura, anything else you want to add on to that about the foundation degree that we offer here?
Yeah, so it's a really kind of varied course, and it starts more in like September, so a little bit before all the undergraduate students come, which means foundation students sort of have free range of the Vijay Patel building for a few weeks. But yeah, there's tons of facilities in the Vijay Patel building. I really recommend, we've got some videos that really showcase those facilities, and on the foundation course you'll get a chance to use most of those and kind of, like Eden said, sort of play around and just really figure out what you'd like to do. So just like Eden said, if you're under 19, it's free, so really why not do a foundation if you think that it would help you kind of figure out what you want to do in your future. And it's just a really great way to try out a lot of different skills, kind of all under that creative discipline.
Excellent, thank you so much. And I suppose it gives you that foundation step, without using the word in my explanation, but it gives you that easier step in transitioning in from either if you're coming from year 13 or if you're coming from your second year at college. Last but not least, Lucille, I haven't forgot about you. So why did you choose to do your course?
Actually, before I started my course, when I was back in Korea, I'm from Korea, I was studying medical fields. So, but I was really not enjoying it. and I feel like it's not what I want to do for my future. So I just wanted to start art. I just want to study arts. But in Korea, when it comes to arts, it's not like specified like here. Like in here, there's so many designs. Like the one that I'm studying course, contour design, which making like lingerie design and other products like fashion and other general designs. There's so many courses about design, so that's why I choose DMU. And the reason why I choose my course is because in Korea, like lingeries is still like really conservative. Like they don't think it's one of the one part of the fashion. They think it's really need to hide it, or So I just want to change like that kind of things. Like I couldn't do nothing right now, but after studying here and thinking of my future dream, yeah, so that's why that's why I choose this course. And I was in medical fields, so I didn't know anything about arts, like nothing. I haven't touched sewing machine before, but starting in here really helps me. Like the tutors always help me when I'm struggling with sewing machine, and even though my English is really bad, like they explain well. So actually, I'm really happy about how I get developed from studying here when it comes to art. So yeah, that's it.
Don't sell yourself short. Your English isn't that bad at all. So
Thank you.
Lucille, they're talking about the cultural difficulties that they're facing in Korea. So Laura, again, I just want to quickly cross over to you just to mention if there's any other courses that students could potentially do studying under that fashion cluster.
Yeah, so we have tons of fashion related courses. We kind of group it under the fashion and textiles umbrella. And there's kind of too many to name, but you can really kind of specialize in whatever area of fashion you're most interested in. So like Lucille said, if you're more interested in lingerie and athleisure wear and all these kind of more about garments that are fitted to the body, then Contour Fashion's definitely for you. And it also has a kind of partner program called Contour Fashion Communication, which is less about making the clothes and more about the kind of I don't know, like if other areas of contour fashion, which is definitely a specialism of DMU, because the corset industry kind of really kicked off in Leicester quite a while back now. So there's a lot of heritage at DMU related to contour fashion. But equally, DMU is really well known for fashion in general. All courses have chances to work with brands and enter live competitions where they get set briefs from brands. So just to name a few, like people go on to work for Next and ASOS and just kind of anywhere you can think of, really. So we also have Footwear Design, which works really closely with industry. They get set projects by New Balance and again enter different competitions. So a lot of fashion courses will enter Graduate Fashion Week at the end of their third year, where they make a collection that is then judged by industry professionals. And if you just take a look at DMU's like news webpage, you'll see so many great news stories about fashion graduates who have gone on to do amazing things with their course. So I'd really recommend fashion at DMU, and if you go to dmu.ac.uk/fashion, then you can see there's a huge range from fashion buying, fashion design, fashion and textiles, just kind of a huge different array of courses to suit what you're most interested in. Some of them more practical, some of them more kind of theoretical and about marketing and different things and trends. But again, if you come to the open day, there'll be 3 fashion related live streams where you can hear all the academics talk about all the different courses and the differences, and they can definitely give you some guidance about, depending on your interests, like which course will be best for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Laura. And thank you all the students for briefly introducing yourselves and also letting us know why you chose to study what you are currently studying at De Montfort University. Now, one thing that I want to draw upon next, or push us towards now, is the influence of family and friends. So although I never studied in arts, designs and humanities, I know my mom had a big say in what I did at university. And I remember dropping a bombshell to my mom saying, right, Dal, what is it that you want to do at university? And I turned around, I wanted to do sport. You can imagine how that conversation went down coming from an Indian household. So, you know, why aren't you doing business? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? So guys, what is the influence on your parents in regards to making your decision? So how did they help? Did they hinder? And what sort of advice do you reckon you would give to future students who might be in that predicament? So anyone want to start us off with that? I'll go to Eden and then I'll go to Charlotte. So Eden.
Well, I was fortunate enough that both my parents generally have supported everything I've decided to do. So I know I've been very lucky with that. But what they did say when I was coming out of A-level and I was still torn, they did really encourage me to do the Art Foundation, because again, it just gives you that opportunity to not waste money. And you're not wasting time, because even if I'd gone and discovered that I hated everything there, it's still narrowing down your choices. And especially if you're under 19, that you get all that for free. And, you know, you get what you can get at the moment. And then when it came to DMU, they encouraged to do an Art Foundation before coming here. So again, that was another reason to do an Art Foundation. And then the decision to come to DMU was largely based on the campus. So my parents liked the safety feel of it, and I'm from Nottingham originally, so it wasn't too far away from home. And then just the general vibe that they got from the whole place was very much the same as what I was getting. So it was reassuring, if anything, that they were getting the same kind of feel from DMU as I was. So it was very much an encouraging process that I was lucky to go through in comparison to some other families. But yeah, it was definitely the feel, the home feel of DMU, I'd say.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Eden. Would you say that you had some friends that were pushing you, or family members pushing you to study one subject over the other?
No,
really?
it was still very much, yeah, I'm very lucky, and it was still, you know, do what you love. And they knew I wanted to be in the arts no matter what I took. And they just said to me, you know, as long as you're going to be happy getting up every day and doing that, because it is 3-4 years, however long you choose to do, you've got to be happy with your choice, because, you know, like you said, it will get hard, but you will have the good parts. But as long as you're getting up and you're excited for going in and, you know, in my case, shooting or editing, filming, then you can't go wrong, really. You've got to go with what you love.
Excellent. Megan, what about yourself?
So I took a couple of years out after college because, like I said earlier on, I did acting and I wasn't sure if that was definitely what I wanted to do. I originally thought about and did apply to drama schools and sort of thought actually that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I took a little bit of time, did some work in, you know, some time away from education. And I thought that I can really see what it is that I want to do. And I've sort of, like I said earlier, I took the passion and interest that I had in the arts and I took it in a slightly different direction. I did originally look at doing joint honours here at DMU, Arts and Festival Management with drama. But in the end, I just decided that I wanted to do single honours. And my mum at first sort of thought that drama and all the acting side was a bit, you know, the classic, it's not, you know, it's not academic. It's not, you're not gonna make any money. You're gonna be poor. It's hard to break through in it. And in the end, I think when I decided to do a less on stage role, less on screen role, I think she was quite happy about that. But she always just said I could do whatever I wanted, but I think she was quietly happy about it, really.
It's always a trouble, isn't it? I feel like some of these courses, I feel like people look at salaries as opposed to the benefits of the courses. And sometimes people look at, right, what job is it that I can get off doing this type of course? And sometimes that could be a massive hindrance to someone choosing that type of course. And it's a real shame, especially if you are passionate about doing that course area. So
but that is a good thing about arts and festival management as well, that I think, because there's so many people, if you look at people that have graduated and what they've gone into so many different things. And if you sort of discover that actually maybe the arts isn't the place that you want to be, you can take all of your skills and put them into a 100% business like side of it. You can move away from the arts, you can do business management and marketing, advertising. It's totally transferable, so it's a good thing to keep your interest going, but you can use it in any situation.
Absolutely. And I think we're seeing the real benefits of marketing now, especially with everything that's happening now. Every company now is redefining their marketing strategies to making sure they're standing out in this crowded online space. Charlotte, what about yourself?
So, I mean, I've already said about how I couldn't decide on my course, but my family were a little bit split as well. So my mum was saying, just do what you want, you know, I'll support you, whatever you want to do, as long as you enjoy it, just pick what you want. But my dad was a little bit more, well, where's history going to get you? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to be a school teacher? What else can you do with it, essentially? And so I found that really difficult. You know, when it came to getting my A-levels on results day and saying, oh, I've got into university, I'm going to study history. And he was going, well, why? And I found that really hard. And I think, actually, I just ignored him in the end, which is, I don't know whether that was the best. Well, it was the best for me, but I don't think he really liked it. So, you know, I just thought, well, okay, if you want me to go and do something more academic, if you like, well, I'm going to spend 3 years of my life probably hating it because it's not what I wanted to do. And I thought, I'm a grown up now, I can make my own choices. So, but even now, you know, I've been doing my course, well, I'm in my 3rd year now. And when I tell people that I'm doing history, sometimes they kind of look at me and think, why? And I can see them thinking, well, what are you going to do with that? Because it's all in the past. And I kind of thought that a little bit when I first was going around open days and things like that. But then when I spoke to the academics, they were saying, well, this company really like history and, you know, you get this skill and you can go into this and this. It's not just going and teaching or going and working in a museum. So, yeah, I think that kind of swayed me a little bit. But I'm so glad that I, you know, kind of didn't listen to half of the people that were telling me, why aren't you doing something more academic?
Same position as you. Lucille?
Yeah.
In my parents' case, like they were not supporting me at all. And I first time, mom, dad, I want to study arts in UK because, you know, they're both in medical fields. So in my family, there's no one who knows about art. Nobody did arts before. So they were really like saying, no, absolutely not, never, that gonna happen like that. So I need to fight with them. I mean, I don't know in English. I need to keep telling them that how much I want to study and not want to study the medical fields. I'm sorry, Charlotte, but I really don't like the medical fields. But yeah, but when I was in Korea, I was not attending my class that much, like not enjoying that much. I think they feel it, but in here they told me like, okay, they will give me a 1 year. So first year I'm studying contour, like if you attend well and if you get a good grade, they will accept me to study contour in here, like whole uni life. So actually I attend like 100% every day attendance and be on time, and I had not bad score like before back in Korea, so because I was really bad before. So yeah, I think I managed them be like me to support in here, I guess. Yeah, that's my case. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you so much, Lucille. Laura, I want to cross over to you now because a couple of the students have mentioned the word academic and how ADH is less academic. What would you say about that? What is your view on that? Your mic, Laura, your mic.
I knew that had to happen at some point. No, it is definitely a bit of a strange one where people assume all kind of creative disciplines are just less academic and maybe less difficult, or just kind of like some of the students mentioned, maybe less employable as well. And I think the uni's really amazing at kind of embedding employability kind of in all the courses. So, you know, in history's case, or in all of humanities, they have like a history in the workplace module and English in the workplace module, and they really help you kind of figure out those transferable skills and open your eyes to some of the options you can have. But yeah, I just really think if you look at any of our news stories, you'll see that all of our students go on to do such incredible things. So across fashion, obviously there's so many options. Again, you might think, oh, why do you want to spend 3 years making dresses and shoes? Like, what's the point? But actually, it's a really niche industry that has so many opportunities for people who have those skill sets, because it's just, you know, they're very specific skill sets that people need, but I guess not many people have. So if you can kind of design a building, design the next breakthrough product, if you can dance and sing, and all these different disciplines are things that are very much embedded into life that people maybe just don't always think about in the same way. And also they are quite academic. So even if you're making a creative piece, you'll have like a final major project where, you know, there's a fair amount of writing and research that goes into that. So even if you, like Megan mentioned, don't decide to actually pursue exactly what your course has kind of led you down the path of, you still leave with these transferable skills, which are just so valuable to employers. And a lot of people maybe don't have those skills if they do other courses that are too kind of specific. So even in my own personal example, I studied English, and obviously I've took that into a career in marketing, which, you know, so I didn't become a teacher off of doing English literature. And I think I had a lot of success in the kind of employability side of things, because I could, you know, write a great argument, I could write effectively, I could communicate really well, which sound like a lot softer skills, but they're really, really valuable in the workplace. So I don't think anyone should worry about kind of academic rigor or employability. And people even do PhDs at DMU in fine art, photograph history, fashion, all these kind of different things as well. So you can even follow a very academic path for most of them as well.
Just following on from what you were saying about, you know, academic versus not, and is it that important? Something that we've been discussing recently is obviously, you know, transferable skills, employability, and something that we do quite a lot of is report writing, which is obviously, it's not an essay, it's a very specific type of report. Because in the future in the workplace, I'm probably not going to be asked to put on a PowerPoint. I'm probably going to be asked to write a report. And I can already do that. I did 2 last year. I've got more coming up this year. So I'm going to be writing multiple reports, and they will be 100% used in my future career. So on top of tons of other things that I do in the real world, like Laura said earlier on, I get involved with actual events out in the real world in Leicester, really big events. So we do actual things that will take me forward, that I can write on my CV, and that will give me better employability than maybe other things.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Megan and Laura. Something that I want to pick up on now is sometimes this split difference between academia and employability. And a lot of students sometimes see those as separate. Sometimes if you're following an academic pursuit, sometimes it doesn't mean that you're going to end up with a job, or you're going to be restricted in certain jobs that you can go and do. But as we're demonstrating throughout, a lot of our guests on here have demonstrated how the course that they're currently doing and the skills that they're currently developing are transitional. We can apply them in different areas. And Laura, you mentioned something very interesting in terms of how we have this employability aspect embedded in a majority of our degrees. So guys, I just want to very briefly, now you're all current students at De Montfort University, I just want to touch up on the fact of, have any of you taken on board these employability opportunities, and what was your experience like, and any advice you would give to any students that are watching? Don't all speak at once.
So I just obviously said about some of the things that we've done, but there's tons of people that we often get told about that are involved in lots of different organizations. Someone from my course was, I think last year, possibly this year as well, was voted on to being the academic executive for the student union. So she's gone from my course to doing something like that, which isn't necessarily arts related. So she's moved away from that, but she might go back to it. We have people in major organizations globally things that you wouldn't necessarily hear arts management or festivals and think, but there's people doing lots of different things with the skills that they've got from our degree.
Absolutely. Eden?
Yeah, in terms of my course, from second and third year, we do like live brief modules. So we're working directly with live clients, usually locally to Leicester, but can be whoever contacts you have. And that obviously increases our experience in industry. You also have the chance, like with many of the courses at DMU, of having the placement year out. I personally didn't decide to do that, but I know a lot of people who have done that, and it's been very successful and helpful to them. And through my course specifically, they are always telling us, like, giving us advice on how to pitch a presentation, like pitching for clients if you go freelance in future, or they're doing, you know, how we can present ourselves and our work to get work with other companies once we graduate. So for me, I've always felt since day one of coming here that they, even if we've not known where we want to go into, they've always had that awareness of, we will get you to a position when you graduate that you will be able to have a job and you will be able to, you know, live a decent life. And they'll also support whether you decide to go into further education as well, which is something I'm pursuing at the moment. And, you know, my lecturer has been like, yeah, I'll give you reference, you know, give it any support you need. So yeah,
thank you.
Very
so
useful.
much for that, Eden. Charlotte?
Yeah, I think what I really like is, like I've said already, I think a lot of people, when you say, oh, you're doing history, they think, oh, you're going to go and work in a museum then, and that's completely not the case. And very often I get invited to things that are going on where you can kind of meet employers and you think, would I be able to do that as a history student? Would I be able to go and be a fashion buyer because I'm a history student? And you kind of talk to these people and they say, well, yes, because you can, you know, write well, you can work as a team, but you're also really good at working independently. You know, so I really like that they kind of, they don't exclude people because of their course, if that kind of makes sense. And then obviously there is the, which has already been mentioned, the history in the workplace module, which you can do. And that runs through quite a few humanities subjects. And also the placement, the year placement that you can do as well after your second year. And yeah, they're really big on kind of bringing your employability skills. So it's not just you've done this course, so you must then do this job, which I really like.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, everyone sharing their employability experiences. So just to give you a recap, if you are joining us midway through the stream, we have got a range of students that have joined us this afternoon who have all been talking around their course areas and why they've chosen to study. So please do feel free to rewind afterwards and have a listen to what we was discussing at the start. So very briefly, we've got Eden, who's studying, I believe, photography and video. We've got Megan, who's studying arts and festivals management. We've got Charlotte, who's studying history. And we've also got Lucille, who's studying contour fashion. We also know that my short-term memory is also very good as well. We're also joined with Laura. So Laura works within the arts, design and humanities faculty. And even though we have a select range of students on offer, we've also got 2 parts that are missing. Is that right, Laura? So 2 clusters that we haven't got. Do you just want to very briefly talk about that?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Dal. So yeah, within Arts, Design, Humanities, we have the clusters Dal just mentioned, and we kind of have a student representative for 4 of the 6 kind of key cluster subject areas. But also, if you're interested in DMU, we offer architecture-related subjects and design as well. So in that architecture cluster, you can study Architecture BA Hons, which is REBA accredited, and you can kind of take that pathway to becoming a professional architect and kind of, it's quite a long process, as I'm sure you know if you're interested in architecture, but you can, our BA course does qualify as a part 1 for that, and you can then also study the the part 2 at DMU as well, and also the part 3. So you can kind of do the whole architecture journey at DMU. And we also have a couple of newer courses for architecture in the built environment. So we have Architectural Technology BSc. That was not so new, but it is kind of another side to architecture that doesn't necessarily lead you to becoming the REBA accredited architect, but leads to lots of different career pathways. And our two newer courses are Building Surveying BSc and Quantity Surveying and Construction BSc. So they're kind of other parts of that built environment cluster. And then the other cluster, which we haven't really mentioned yet, will be design. So at DMU, you can study design crafts, interior design, product design BA, product design BSc. So obviously the difference there being in some of the modules, the BSc kind of maybe involves a little bit more engineering modules and things like that. And then also product and furniture design. So as mentioned before, we'll pop the links in the comments. You can explore the different course options, and of course, feel free to come to an open day and hear the academics give a summary of those subjects. You can really kind of explore the area there. But I would say, you know, architecture is a really big community at DMU. There's lots to see and do. There's the Leicester Society of Architects, which is kind of the main society for architecture. And when COVID isn't a thing, they did a big in-person event where all areas of architecture got together and heard, you know, there was a lot of guest speakers from industry and things like that. So lots of opportunities there. And then with design, similar thing really. So design crafts is kind of using the workshops to create anything you could dream of. So glasswork, pottery, metalwork, kind of really making use of those facilities. And a lot of people go on to then create their own businesses and things like that. Product design and interior design maybe speak for themselves a little bit more in terms of what those courses are about. But I would definitely say if any of those subjects sound interesting to you, then the open day is the place to be, to hear from the academics and students and kind of get that more detailed info, as well as the website, of course. There's lots of course videos and info on there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Laura. So as Laura said, all of those links will be available for you from the comment section. So please do find the appropriate link. And just to confirm the date, our next open day is on Saturday, the 14th of November. So we hope to see you at that open day. So what I want to do now is go into something a little more more fun, in my opinion, because what I want to know is why, in your guys' opinions, why your course is the best. Guys, please approach your answers diplomatically. I do not want to hear any shade thrown on any of the faculties or courses. So in your own opinion, I don't mind who starts us off. Why do you think that your course is the best?
I can start with that.
Go on, Lucille.
Contour fashion is one of the most popular course in DMU, I guess. Like, there's so many graduates that already developed their career, business, their fields. Like, already it was a lot of things they already be done. So I think it's quite cool. And there's so many sewing machines and workshop that we can use, like 3D printing in lingerie as well, like fabric dyeing, like all the workshop we can use. And I think it's really good to study in art area, especially my course. And even though like kind of like international students who's struggling with English or writing an essays, like there's so many areas that I can ask for help. Like second floor in the VJ building, there's English. I don't know the exact name, but when it comes to essay, I can just go and ask about English, like things they provide that kind of service as well. And not only that, like tutors in my courses, if I ask, like once again, they explain really well. They're all kind, not like our Korean culture, not like strict and not having any communication. Like it's in here all like communicating really easily with tutor. I think that was the really best thing I ever experienced so far, because it was not in my culture. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lucille. VJ Patel building is the building where mainly our arts and designs and humanity courses are based, and it's an amazing building. And if you haven't seen it, I do strongly recommend you go onto our website, have a look at the virtual campus, and really do check out the facilities that we have on offer there. So that's what Lucille was mentioning. Charlotte, why, in your opinion, do you believe that your course is the best?
I just think that my modules are so interesting and engaging. All of my lecturers are really lovely, and they're kind of a range of, they come from a range of kind of research interests as well. So you've got quite a broad range of modules. They're really approachable. You know, you can go, well, obviously at the minute you can't go and pop into their office, but normally you'd be able to go and pop into their office and you can just have a chat with them, and they're, you know, really nice, really helpful. Everyone on my course is lovely. You know, there's about 100 of us ish, and, you know, everyone's just so nice and really helpful. If you need any help, everyone's really willing to share their wisdom, if you like. Yeah, and it's just a really welcoming course to be on, and a really, you know, I feel really comfortable in my course, and I go to my seminars and lectures when we could, and you just kind of sit there and think, yeah, this is just nice. So yeah, I just love it.
With your modules, Charlotte, did you get to choose your modules that you're studying on your history course?
So in my first year, no, they were all kind of set for us, but they were quite broad in their range. So we covered a lot of history, modern history, but we covered quite a lot of history. And then in our second year, we had one compulsory module which sets us up for our dissertation, and then we could pick another 3. And then the same in our third year. So we have our dissertation, which is compulsory, and then you pick another 3. But for history, they also offer half-year modules as well, which are worth 15 credits. So you don't have to do a module necessarily, like all full-year modules. You can do some half modules, which means you study it for 1 term. So it's a little bit more, you're studying even more. And also they do offer some modules that are kind of in with other courses. So at the minute I'm studying a module which is the American presidency, and that's a politics module. And, you know, so it's not all just in the history department. It's quite nice to mix departments sometimes as well. So even though you do have your compulsory, you know, your dissertation, you have still got quite a lot of flexibility.
Absolutely. Megan, same question to you.
Yeah, so I don't know, I think it depends on obviously what you're interested in, but there's so many different areas of the arts. You can look at it from every angle. You can go in and do so many different things, and I feel like I am sat looking over it all, and hopefully in the future I can be involved with loads of different aspects of it, because as much as I do really enjoy more sort of theatre and like film type things, my degree puts me everywhere, so I could go all sorts of different places with it. I can be involved in all the areas of the arts, and I think it's just a really good stepping stone to get involved in a very important industry, and the arts is one of the most important industries for people, and it's very often looked down on, which is not great in terms of funding and everything. But I feel like it just makes me excited to get out and get into the arts, into everything, and just really get my fingers stuck in and get involved.
Yeah. What would you say about the teaching and the support that's on offer there for the course?
Yeah, so I think we have some really good lecturers. We've got lecturers that have been working collectively for decades in the industry. And I remember when I came to an open day before I started, sitting in a talk with the one of the head of subjects, and I just thought, wow, he really knows what he's talking about. I will be in good hands listening to this guy, because he's done it all. He's hosted this event, he's been involved in this event, he's managed this, he's marketed that, and everyone really is supportive, helpful. And if you've got a question about a specific area, for example, one of our lecturers focuses mostly on music industry, So if you want to ask something about that industry, you go to her. So you know where you can go to be signposted for the specific area that you're looking for.
Excellent. And Laura, just to bring you in on this, I know this is a very specific type of question, but it can be answered very, very loosely as well. Would you say, generally speaking, within arts, designs and humanities, that we have good links within industry in terms of our academic staff, in terms of our technicians that work also within the faculty?
Yeah, I think definitely, just as Megan kind of mentioned, it's definitely, you can see it in the lecturers and the people you're taught by, and that's not just in the kind of performance area. I think that's across the board for everyone, all of our subjects, just because so many of them come from working in the industry, you know, for 20 or 30 years, and then they come to teaching. So yeah, in fashion, you'll definitely find most of the academics there have worked in the industry, they've worked with amazing companies, and then they come to teach and bring all that knowledge with them. I think that's right across the board. Like our architecture academics will be trained architects and practicing architects, so they'll still be kind of helping our projects while they're teaching. So I think that's definitely true across the board. I won't name all, but I think that's something you could ask at an open day and you would hear great responses from all the academics about the kind of amazing stuff they've done in humanities. They're doing like leading research, and there's the Leicester Centre for Creative Writing, and they run an independent book publishing festival. So there's all this kind of bigger area of the arts that all of our academics are kind of a part of, and they definitely bring that expertise. And in terms of all the links, I think that's one of the best things about DMU. So with the performance area, we've got big links with Leicester Comedy Festival, like we mentioned, but also if you are doing a more practical course, things like the Curve Theatre, which is an amazing theatre in Leicester. It gets all the kind of West End productions come to it because it's a really amazing theatre to come to, and so many students get the opportunity to work with Curve. They do placements, they also get to perform, so there'll be a production in partnership with DMU that Curve puts on that will be DMU as the, you know, actually in the performance as well as behind the scenes. So yeah, there's just so many different areas. I can't really think of them all, but in fashion, you know, like I mentioned, you can name drop a billion brands in terms of where there's collaboration. They get guest speakers come in from like Hugo Boss and just ASOS, and kind of any big fashion brand somewhere in some fashion course, they'll have a connection there. And that's partly because the academics bring their own industry connections with them, and they kind of, you know, ask favors on LinkedIn, like, oh, does anyone want to come and do a talk for our fashion buying students? I know that's something they've got coming up soon, is a talk from industry for those students. So yeah, I think it's a big thing across the board, really. And also our graduates as well. So many of them keep in touch and go on to do amazing things. So for fine art, we have a graduate called Marcus who has kind of stayed in Leicester, but he's been in competitions, he's had his work exhibited, and he does a lot kind of within the Leicester art community, but also just in general, like he's one to watch and kind of is doing some amazing work. So it's really nice that we also get our alumni to come back and kind of talk to our students about the ways that they can like things they can do with their future and all the knowledge that they've gained after leaving their course.
Excellent, thank you so much. So as you see there, from good representation from all of our courses within arts, designs and humanities, we do have that great link into industry, which will be very useful, especially post-graduation. So when you finish your degree, in terms of looking for that next step or that next move, building those networks now is super, super handy. So Eden, so what about yourself?
Again, a lot of the points have been covered, because what makes my course so great is the teaching and the range of support you can get. And a lot of my work is, well, a lot of first year is you do a variety of different modules that introduces you to a lot of the different aspects in photography and video, such as documentary, you know, photo books, filming, and you get support from everyone because they obviously have their specialties, and you do find that you do, again, you know, you discover your own specialty, and then you'll work with the people who have that in common with you. But you've also got great technicians as a support system. So we've got Mac Labs, which and massive printing equipment, which would usually cost you about £60 for a print in the industry, and it's costing you about 40p here because they give you the paper for free. It's insane, the tech that we've got, and that's all ran by some great staff, and then we've got, you know, photo studio, video studio, we get free film, we got a dark room, and then, like you said before, we have access to, if we needed some woodwork making that we wanted to photograph, you know, there's that excellent link within the courses, because we are all in that one massive new shiny building. And then again, just to reinforce the DMU Global, I mean, that was one of the things, a lot of courses in the UK, they have got that lovely opportunity, but these ones you get as an award. So I was lucky enough to qualify for an award, which basically meant I went for New York for free if I went in my first year. So the only money I had to put towards it was the spending money, which was a bit more than I should have done. But but that opportunity was amazing, and we went all around New York, and the cultural experiences you can get. Like, I knew if I'd gone anywhere else, if I'd gone London, for example, I wouldn't have been able to afford it, because I'd be, you know, spending my money by living there. Whereas Leicester's such a not cheap place, but it's a very affordable place, very multicultural place. And so even here and abroad, I had this great cultural experience that I don't think I could have got anywhere else. So yes, definitely one of the best.
Excellent. So DMU Global, guys, just picking up on what Eden just mentioned there. DMU Global is an initiative that is run throughout the entire university. And what we're trying to do is enrich our student studies. So what we do, we set up various trips throughout the course of the year where students can check their eligibility for, and they are heavily subsidized. So as you heard, Eden went for free for some of the trips. I'm not going to give exact figures, but you can check out on our DMU Global website, which we will link in the comments for you guys afterwards. But you do get the opportunity to do some work experience internationally as well as domestically as well. So again, it's all about, our orientation here is to make you guys stand out. So we want to be able to give you guys the opportunities that will set you apart from those others that are graduating within the same field. And Eden, as she commented about her own experience, took advantage of that, and hopefully that will build in fruition as when she comes to graduate, and she's got some fantastic experiences to talk about. Laura, do you just want to quickly, I know Eden mentioned there around technicians, do you want to quickly elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, I think it's a really key part to a lot of the art and design courses that are based in the Vijay Patel building, including performance as well, actually. Maybe not so much humanities, but I think all those courses where you are using all this brand new tech and things you probably haven't encountered before, like you probably haven't used a 3D printer, like Lucille said, a sewing machine, kind of all these new equipment which you might not have experienced. In every workshop there's a trained technician who is someone who has had years in industry. They have so much knowledge, so even though they might not directly teach you through seminars and lectures, they're there to support you in the workshops, and they're such a vital part of the learning experience. And I know some people, you know, they really connect with those technicians and have an amazing bond there, and they just learn so much from them. So I think maybe you hear about all the facilities and it might sound a bit intimidating to hear that there's so many facilities because you don't have a clue how you'd use any of those. But I think for any of these courses, you're not expected to have all of this knowledge or in performance of like lighting and sound and all this different stuff. You know, you're not expecting that you have this equipment at home or any kind of deep knowledge of it. And that's really what the technicians do. So I definitely think if any of the kind of equipment and stuff that we've mentioned sounds interesting to you, then know that you would be fully supported in kind of being inducted into the equipment. And yeah, you would never be in a workshop without a technician also present to answer your questions and give you guidance and stuff like that. So they're a really valuable part to kind of using the facilities and part of your learning process.
Excellent, thank you so much. So this last little couple of bits from us in terms of this live stream. One thing that I want to ask all of you students, what is the main advice you would give to a student who's currently unsure of what their next decision is in regards to their course? What's that top bit of advice you could possibly give to those students who are currently now thinking, do I do this? Do I do that? What would we say?
You go, Charlotte.
There you go. That's all right. There you go.
You're all farting polite.
I'll go. I would say, and I think I've probably made this quite clear throughout, do what you love, because it's like we've already said, it's a long time studying if it's something that you don't enjoy, and then it becomes really difficult. And university can be difficult enough at times. You don't need the added stress of actually I'm really hating this. So I would really say follow your passion and decide what your passion is, and then you can decide on your course.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, I mean, you know, you're 3 years and it is a lot of money. It's an investment in yourself. So, you know, if you're unsure, maybe don't rush into it, take a year out, reevaluate. And if you're still in a year, you're still thinking about that, then, you know, pursue it. You don't have to, it's this schools I find give you this kind of panic rush of, you must decide now, but actually, you know, it's all right to have a year out, you know, it's not going anywhere. You know, discover what you really love, because at the end of the day, you know, it's a lot of money and you've got to make sure it's worth it. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
Megan?
I took 2 years out, so like I said, I completely sort of swerved from being practical to being behind the scenes. I took 2 years out to think about it, and that was definitely a good decision that I made, because I really love what I'm doing now. And I'm really glad that I took the time to decide and that I wasn't pressured into doing it too quickly.
And what about yourself, Lucille? Any bit of advice you'd give to students who are currently umming and ahhing on their course?
It's the same point like you guys already told, but it's like, I believe that I want to study arts. I was so sure I was not suitable for medical. So just trust yourself and show what you got. Like, yeah, trust yourself and fight with parents who, if they're not supporting. Yeah. I don't know what to say, but yeah, just keep thinking what you really want. And you know, we are only like 20s, like I'm 25, but everybody's like young still. Like, we have so many times that from now for our future, there's so many times left. So it's kind of struggle thinking is really necessary for us, and it will be really helpful from now on. So yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you, Lucille. Laura, any bit of advice you would give from the faculty point of view?
Yeah, I think the students have kind of covered it a lot, really, but I think you can tell from the way that all the students today have talked about their subjects that they're really following their passions, and it's like their passion project to do the courses that they're doing. And I think that is just so important to, you know, follow your heart. And it's not like you only go to university once. Some people do many degrees, but for many people, they're just going to do the one degree. And I think you may as well do it in something that you absolutely love. And any kind of worries about employability and getting a job, which I think is what holds a lot of people back from maybe more arts-driven courses, is just that DMU is so amazing at embedding employability in every single course. There's placement opportunities, just so much. And you'll kind of, as you study the course, you'll discover all the career options available. And I think you'll leave with all the skills you need to get a job related to that industry, or you'll have all these transferable skills to get a job in a different industry. Like my own example of studying English literature and now I'm working in marketing. Like, I didn't do a degree in marketing, but I've still gotten a job in that because of the skills I got from my humanities degree. So yeah, I think just like everyone said, is follow your heart. And I think don't be put off about employability, because I didn't know about the whole world of fashion and design and all these different things I've been introduced to since working at DMU. And once you're kind of in those worlds, I think you realise just how many opportunities there are to get a job. So I think if that's something holding you back, because I think that's something we hear a lot from students, then I don't even think that's really worth worrying about, because all that sort of sorts itself out, because you've got your whole life to find a job and work. So you may as well do a degree in something you really love.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our students for taking times out of your busy student lives to join us this afternoon and share with us your experiences and why you chose the courses that you do. And thank you to our audience for watching. So thank you so much for joining us. We've come to the end of our live stream here on Arts, Designs and Humanities. We want to just say a massive thank you for watching. And if you do want to replay this or review it, if you want to have a look at any of the links that we've mentioned, you can find them all in the comment section. And something that we've mentioned throughout is our open day, and I'm just going to allude to it once more. So our open day is taking place on Saturday, the 14th of November. And as Laura said, you'll be able to gain a greater insight to a lot of the different courses by attending some of the live streams that we have set up for you to provide you with that information to try and hopefully help you make the right decision in regards to your UCAS process. So from me as the host, I just want to say thank you and bye-bye.